is on, right? You all can hear me? You don't hear? You got me now? Yes. Okay. Good evening. This is Chairwoman Jane Lichter. I call to order the meeting of the Board of Education of Baltimore County for Tuesday, March 24th, 2026. This evening's Board of Education meeting is being broadcast through the BCPS online live meeting broadcasts and on BCPS-TV, Xfinity Channel 1073, and Verizon Fios Channel 34. In order to efficiently conduct this meeting, all voting items this evening will be done by roll call vote. May I have a motion to go into closed session as permitted by the Open Meetings Act as found in the Annotated Code of Maryland, General Provisions Article 3-305, B1 and B7 to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom it has jurisdiction, or any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals, and consult with counsel to obtain legal advice.
So moved from Pong.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Savoy.
Second.
Thank you, everyone. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. McMillian?
Yes.
Ms. Pumphrey?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Dominowski? Ms. Hen?
Yes.
Ms. Frempong?
Yes.
Ms. Ogumbe?
Yes.
Ms. Delusky?
Yes.
Dr. Savoy?
Yes.
Ms. Lichter?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Gover, we ready? Okay. Good evening. This is Chairwoman Jane Lichter. I now call to order the meeting of the Board of Education of Baltimore County for Tuesday, March 24th, 2026. I invite you to recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag to be led by Ms. Forsyth Ongambe. We will then have a moment of silence in recognition of those who have served education in Baltimore County. Thank you. Tonight's Board of Education meeting is being broadcast through the BCPS online live meeting broadcast and on BCPS-TV, Comcast Xfinity Channel 1073, and Verizon Fios Channel 34. In order to efficiently conduct this meeting, all voting items this evening will be done by roll call vote. The first item on the agenda is the consideration of the March 24th agenda. Dr. Rogers, are there any additions to tonight's agenda?
I believe there is one proposed addition
Okay. You mean from a board member or from yourself?
from a board member.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Pumphrey?
Yes, I would like to invite a motion to add nominations and voting for the vice chair to our agenda this evening.
Is there a second to Ms. Pumphrey's? Mr. McMillian? Second? Okay. Is there any discussion?
May I speak to my motion?
Yes, Ms. Pumphrey.
I just would like this to occur in an open meeting setting so that we have transparency to the public.
Okay. Thank you. May I have a roll call vote on Ms. Pumphrey's motion to add the vote on vice chair to open session?
I'm going to put that as item D.
Item D? Okay, as item D.
Thank you. Mr. McMillian?
Yes.
Ms. Pumphrey?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Dominowski?
Yes.
Ms. Henn?
Yes.
Ms. Frempong?
Yes.
Ms. Ogombe?
Yes.
Ms. Dulesky? Yes. Dr. Savoy?
Yes.
Ms. Lichter?
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion passes. Are there any other additions to tonight's agenda? Okay. Hearing none, the agenda's well, we did hear. Wait a second. The revised agenda is approved and the agenda stands as presented. Earlier this evening, the board met in closed session pursuant to the Opens Meeting Act for the following reasons: to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom it has jurisdiction, or any other personal matter that affects one or more specific individuals, and consult with counsel to obtain legal advice. The closed session summary and the open session information summary can be found on board docs under this board meeting agenda date. We'll now move to the new item D, which will be the vote on vice chair. Get myself together. Yep, here it is. Okay. Nominations are now open for the office of Board Vice Chair. Are there any nominations?
Madam Chair, this is Ms. Henn.
Yes, Ms. Henn?
I'd like to nominate Ms. Pumphrey for Vice Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Pumphrey, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I accept.
Thank you. Are there further nominations for the office of Board Vice Chair?
Yes.
Yes, Dr. Savoy?
I'd like to nominate Mr. Emery.
Mr. Young? Mr. Young, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Are there any further nominations for the office of Board Vice Chair? Okay. Without objection, nominations are now closed. We will first have a roll call vote for Ms. Pumphrey. Ms. Gover?
Mr. McMillian?
Yes.
Ms. Pumphrey?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
No.
Ms. Dominowski?
Yes.
Ms. Henn?
Yes.
Ms. Frempong?
No.
Ms. Ogombe?
No.
Ms. Stelasky,
Yes.
Dr. Savoy,
No.
Ms. Lichter.
Yes.
Favor is 6.
Thank you. May I have a roll call vote for the nomination of Mr. Young for vice chair?
Mr. McMillian,
No.
Ms. Pumphrey,
No.
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Dominowski,
No.
Ms. Hen,
No.
Ms. Frempong,
Yes.
Ms. Ogombe,
Yes.
Ms. Stelasky,
No.
Dr. Savoy,
Yes.
Ms. Lichter.
Yes.
Favor is 5.
We need 7 votes in order to have the nomination of vice chair, which we don't. We have, I believe, 6 to 5. Ms. Gopher? Okay. Mr. Millian, are you going to say something?
I move we vote again.
Is there a second to Mr. McMillian's motion?
Second, Pumphrey.
Any discussion? May I have a roll call vote to Mr. McMillian's motion to vote again?
Mr. McMillian,
Yes.
Ms. Pumphrey,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
No.
Ms. Dominowski,
Yes.
Ms. Hen,
Yes.
Ms. Frempong,
No.
Ms. Ogombe,
No.
Ms. Stelasky,
Yes.
Dr. Savoy,
No.
Ms. Lichter.
Yes.
Favor is 6.
Motion did not pass. Okay. Okay. Okay, before we continue with new business, I'd like to address the continued discussion surrounding the FY27 budget vote. It's difficult to understand why this matter continues to be revisited a month after it was reviewed by legal counsel, particularly as the board's primary focus should be on selecting our next superintendent to continue the forward progress of our students. On Thursday, February 26, 2026, at about 9:00 p.m., I was made aware of by a fellow board member of Section 3-2B-07, which prohibits a non-student member of the county board for being a candidate for or hold elected or appointed office for a political party or the local, state, or federal government. I immediately consulted with board counsel to confirm the requirements of the statute. At 9:38 that evening, board counsel and I contacted Ms. Harvey to inform her of this provision. Ms. Harvey indicated that she had not previously been aware of this requirement and shared that it was not identified during her filing with the Board of Elections. Upon being informed, Ms. Harvey acted promptly and submitted her resignation the same evening. I received her letter of resignation and promptly shared it with the full board and board counsel. On Friday, February 27th, 2026, the whole board received legal counsel on the application of Section 32B-07 of the educational article. Board counsel advised and continues to advise that this law did not prevent Ms. Harvey from voting and that the vote on the FY27 budget was passed legally. The next item on the agenda is personnel matters, and for that I call on Mr. McCall. Good evening.
Good evening, Chair Lichter, Superintendent Dr. Rogers, and members of the board. I'd like the board's consent for the following personnel matters. Tonight we have retirements, resignations, leaves, and educator licensure appointments.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the personnel matters as presented in Exhibits D1 through D4?
So moved, Pumphrey.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second, Savoy.
Thank you. Any discussion? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. McMillian,
Yes.
Ms. Pumphrey,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Ms. Dominowski, Ms. Hen,
Yes.
Ms. Frempong,
Yes.
Ms. Ogombe,
Yes.
Ms. Stelasky,
Yes.
Dr. Savoy,
Yes.
Ms. Lichter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is administrative appointments, and for that I call on Dr. Rogers. Thank you, Mr. McCall.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lichter and members of the board. I am bringing forward the following administrative appointments for your approval. Assistant Principal, Padonia Elementary School. Senior Supervisor, Construction and Special Projects, Office of Facilities Construction and Improvement.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the administrative appointments as presented in Exhibit E1?
So moved, Pumphrey.
Do I have a second?
Second from Pong.
Thank you. Any discussion? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. McMillian?
Yes.
Ms. Pumphrey?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Dominowski?
Yes.
Ms. Hen?
Yes.
Ms. Frempong? Ms. Agumbe?
Yes.
Ms. Delusky?
Yes.
Dr. Savoy?
Yes.
Ms. Lichter?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is public comment. This is one of the opportunities the board provides to hear the views and receive the advice of community members. If not selected to address the board, members of the public may submit their comments to the board members via email at boe@bcps.org. The Baltimore County Police Department's Homeland Security Unit and Office of School Safety has recommended safety and security protocols, which are posted in the boardroom and available in board docs and on the board's participation by the public website. While we encourage public input on policy programs and practices within the purview of this board and this school system, this is not the proper forum to address specific student or employee matters or comment on matters that do not relate to public education in Baltimore County. Oh, so sorry. Dr. Rogers?
Thank you. The first appointment this evening, please stand in the audience, is Jennifer Odlin.
Oh, sorry, Jennifer.
Please, everyone, a round of applause for Jennifer. Jennifer is attending this evening with her husband, Scott, and daughter, Keegan, and is being appointed as the assistant principal at Padonia Elementary School. With 31 years of service with Baltimore County Public Schools, Jennifer's BCPS experiences include Spanish teacher at Delaney High School, resource teacher in the Department of Professional Development, and specialist in the Office of Equity and Cultural Proficiency. Congratulations.
Ms. Aldwin, I apologize, but congratulations on your promotion. Okay, go ahead.
Our second appointment is Christopher Swoboda. Please stand to be recognized. Christopher is attending this evening and is being appointed as a senior supervisor, construction and special projects in the Office of Facilities, Construction and Improvement. With 19 years of service, Christopher's experiences include project manager at Whiting Turner, Sienna Corporation, and Oak Contracting. Congratulations and welcome to BCPS.
Congratulations. Okay, I'm going to start in the middle. While we encourage public input on policy, programs, and practices within the purview of this board and this school system, this is not the proper forum to address specific student or employee matters or to comment on matters that do not relate to public education in Baltimore County. Inappropriate personal remarks or other behavior such as language that promotes violence against a BCPS employee or that disrupts or interferes with the conduct of this meeting are out of order and will not be tolerated. Persons who otherwise disrupt or disturb this meeting will not be allowed to continue their remarks and will be escorted from the meeting. Please observe the 3-minute clock, which will let you know when your time is up. The microphone will be turned off at the end of the time or prior to that time at the discretion of the board chair. It is the practice of this board to allow elected officials to provide their comments to the board. First to speak is Delegate Cheryl Pastor. She's not yet on? Should I move on? Okay, we are going to move on to our school system affiliated groups. And our first, we don't have any for school system. From our unions, we have Ms. Kelly Olds from TAPCO.
Sorry.
Good evening, Ms. Olds.
Good evening. Good evening, Chair Lichter, Dr. Rogers, and members of the board. I know there is a great deal of new and upcoming internal changes. In times like these, things can fall through the cracks. I want to talk about a few lingering concerns, and I hope that we can work together to address them. First, we continue to see issues with Oracle. I haven't spoken on this for a while, but it's not because everything is going great. Just Friday, I heard from a member that only received half his pay. This is a member who is 0.5 in one school and 0.5 in another. and had an EDA added for a spring coaching position. This is an example of an issue, not an isolated one. Position changes made in Oracle seem to cause issues with pay, especially for those in split positions. It is then expected that they wait 2 weeks for the missing portion of their paycheck or risk the next several pay cycles being incorrect and impacted. People should get paid for their work on the intended pay date. In conversations with other union leaders around the state, it seems that Oracle may truly not be the best tool for school system payroll management. Oracle seems too inflexible for the dynamic payroll of a large school system. We will all have to keep watching this. Sorry, that was a weird echo. But for now, I would like for us to work together to try to address this. Second,
If you want to wait,
Okay.
you're at 1 minute 30. We'll put you back on. Somebody has their.
Okay. No.
We good? Okay, so Miss Olds was at 1 minute 30 when we stopped her.
am I good?
Sure.
Okay. Second, special education and case management. We've been unable to reach an agreement to provide even a small amount of extra time for our special educators and members who perform intensive case management for our students. For nearly half a decade, we've jointly agreed to provide additional money and time for people handling this legally mandated documentation. We'd like your support to find a way forward this year and next so we can keep these educators in Baltimore County. Third, we've not discussed discipline much. However, we are still seeing concerns in that area. Some schools are in crisis, others are just getting by. Meanwhile, inequities around discipline concerns and tracking incidents continue. TABCO has tried to collaborate on these issues since 2017, and we will continue. Meanwhile, there is no substantive bilateral process working to address these concerns, despite a multi-unit MOU agreed to during the last negotiation cycle. We should work on this. Finally, as we look towards the future, I want to ensure that we are an integral part of the process as the board determines the next superintendent and an interim superintendent if that is the next step. I look forward to working with you as we move to address some of these concerns. Thank you.
Is Ms. Pastor on, Ms. Scover? Not yet? Okay. Our next speaker is Mr. Billy Burke from CASE.
Good evening, Mrs. Lichter, members of the board, Dr. Rogers, and the BCPS community. With the retirement of our superintendent on July 1st, BCPS stands at a crossroads. While we wish Dr. Rogers well and thank her for her dedication and service, the transition comes at a time of significant unease. Today, CASE is asking this board for a commitment to stability, transparency, and the protection of the school-based leadership that keeps our system running. Our first and most urgent concern is the proposed reduction of assistant principals. APs are not middle management in the traditional sense. They are the frontline responders for student discipline, the evaluators of teacher growth, the coordinators of school safety, transportation, and testing, and so much more. You cannot cut the leadership of a building and expect the culture to remain intact. We ask the board to prioritize school-level staffing over service contracts and initiatives to ensure our buildings remain safe and instructionally sound. Second, we need immediate clarity on staffing allocations. As we sit here in late March, school leaders are being asked to plan for the next academic year in a vacuum. We cannot build master schedules or recruit top-tier talent without knowing our numbers. This delay creates transition anxiety that trickles down from the principal's office to the classroom. We need a firm date for when these allocations will be in our hands. Third, As you begin the search for new leadership, CASE members are looking for a calm and steady voice. We do not need a radical overhaul or a flurry of new unfunded mandates. We need a leader who understands the operational realities of a 111,000 student district and who values the expertise of the administrators and central office leaders who have held this system together through historic challenges. We ask that CASE be given a formal seat at the table during the search process to ensure the next superintendent is someone who leads with collaboration. In times of change, the most successful organizations lean on their core leadership. We are your partners in this work. Let's make this transition one of stability. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of CASE.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. I'm waiting. I can hear Ms. Pastor's voice, so. Okay. Our next speaker is Delegate Cheryl Pastor.
Good evening. I am so sorry that I can't be there tonight. I am working, and I hope you're able to hear this. Sometimes we work with people, sometimes for years we work with people, but don't get to know who they are and the gifts they quietly give to their colleagues and their communities. Let me introduce one of the most interesting people I know and respect. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Margaret Ann Howie, Chief Counsel for Baltimore County Public Schools. Of a number of school law articles, especially about students' rights, the recipient of the 2013 Maryland Pro Bono Attorney of the Year for the Tahiri Justice Center for assisting immigrant women fleeing from gender-based violence. She currently volunteers for Good Samaritan Advocates, offering free legal consultations at City of Refuge Church in South Baltimore. She is being a servant, always. Ms. Howie holds a BA from Johns Hopkins, Master's from Middlebury College, and Master's of Theology from St. Mary's Seminary and University. Ms. Howie, this is from Bishop Emeritus Walter Thomas from New Psalmist Baptist Church, where you serve, as he told me, all things. This is what he told me to share with you. I salute, he says, Chief Counsel Margaret Ann Howie. I have known her for much of her life and remember when she came to Baltimore County to serve as legal counsel. She put her heart and soul into this work, and her record stands for itself. I was her pastor for nearly 50 years and watched her hone her values and use her graces in everything she did and still does. Margaret Ann, this is a moment of celebration for you and all of us, because you proved once again that integrity and character matched with skill and discipline, standing before God for direction. God bless you. All of New Psalmist members, join me in wishing you a great retirement. Bishop Walter A. Thomas, Pastor Emeritus, New Psalmist Baptist Church. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, our wonderful, our incredible, our awesome is Margaret Ann Howie will be retiring from Baltimore County Public Schools at the end of this month. Ms. Howie, I, like so many others, am grateful that you are a part of my busy world because you bring peace and logic and kindness. Thank you. Ms. Howie, Mr. Bazemore is there with you. He has several citations for you. One from Governor Moore, from County Executive Klausmeyer, the Baltimore County legislative delegates, and the Baltimore County senators, the county council, and from me personally to say thank you for all the work you have done, all the work we have all collectively seen you do in your long tenure in Baltimore County. Ms. Howie, you are dearly loved and you will be sorely, sorely missed. God bless you for who you are and all you have done for the children, families, and staff of Baltimore County Public Schools. I love you, love you, love you. And Mr. Bazemore is going to give you all of those wonderful citations, heralding and honoring you. It has been my pleasure to work with you. I wish all of you a good night. And now that you know who we're losing in Miss Howie, please make sure you show her love tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pastor. You said it so eloquently and beautifully. The only thing I want to say is on behalf of the board, we would like to extend our sincere congratulations to you on your well-earned retirement, express our gratitude for your exemplary dedication to BCPS over the past 4 more years. Having had the opportunity and privilege to work with you, I can personally attest to your professionalism, commitment, and your steadfast support of the students, staff, and families of BCPS. Your legal expertise and devotion to children's welfare have been invaluable contributions to our school system. We thank you for your outstanding service and wish you a fulfilling and enjoyable retirement. Thank you for everything.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for me to stand here beside this great woman, this great lady, who has served this community for many years. She's served Baltimore County Public Schools, the children and staff, tirelessly for 34 years. She's also been a pillar in her community, of which I am there with you. And Bishop Thomas, the Bishop Thomas, you are a pillar in your church. And I want to invoke one name tonight because this man stood with us a many times in the community, in the church, and even here at the school system, and his spirit is still with us. Congressman Elijah Cummings. I can't stand here beside you without saying his name because he loved you as well. And you were a confidant and advisor to that great man. So we stand here in awe of you. Sometimes there are giants that walk among us that we don't see, but we need to acknowledge. And today is your day where we acknowledge you. And as my Aunt Alice told me all my life, may the work I've done speak for me. Now I really knew what she meant when I was little. As I got older, Margaret and Howie, the work you have done speaks for you, nationally, statewide, and locally. We love you. And as a testament to this, I have a lot of citations. This is the first, it's a lot. We'll be here half the night if I read them all. But they're from the heart. They're from state senators, the entire delegation, the state delegates, the county council, the county executive, on and on. And so I'm going to read one that's going to represent and embody all of them. And that's from our governor, Wes Moore, and Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller. So with great honor, I'd like to do that. Is Jane? Okay. And Dr. Savoy, I think you also wanted to say a few words before I read the citation.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of my colleagues of the Baltimore County Board of Education, we would like to acknowledge, commend, and thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us, especially Robert's Rules of Order. This is just a very small token of our gratitude for what you did to help us get started on the board when we came on. And I will miss you.
Thank you, Dr. Savoy. You can stay right there. I'm gonna read the citations because words are important. The state of Maryland, Governor of the state of Maryland, to Margaret Ann Francis Howie. We got it now. Greetings. Be it known that on behalf of the citizens of this state, in recognition of the 34 years of dedicated and outstanding service you have made on behalf of the Baltimore County Public Schools as its general counsel, in honor of the high level of professionalism, expertise, and commitment you have demonstrated throughout your distinguished career, and as the people of Maryland join in expressing our great respect, admiration, and sincere best wishes on the occasion of your retirement, we are pleased to confer upon you this governor's citation under my hand and the great seal of the state of Maryland, Governor Westmore. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm going to take a moment of personal privilege because Mom is here. Mom, if you and the family can come up, we're going to take some pictures. The brothers, and a beautiful niece named Grace I just met. Thank you, Grace. And I want to thank Superintendent Rogers. I want to thank this board for all the work that you've done and for supporting Margaret and Howie while she was here. She couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you. Thank you. Okay, Mr. We're going to take you're going to stand right here. Hold your citation. The tall man in the back. I guess I should be in the front. Did you want to see?
The Bible says in Romans 13:7 to show honor to who honor is due. And we're showing honor to you, Margaret Ann, because it's due. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Amen. And I'm going to wrap these up and give them to you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for the
Thank you, Mr. Bazemore and Delicate Pastor, for making those citations. And again, congratulations, Margaret Ann. Okay. We are still on public comment, and we are now on individual citizens or students. And our first speaker is Ms. Serhoff.
Good evening. Pardon me, I'm a little on the exhausted side because of the time of year. There was an article a few days ago from Fox 45's Project Baltimore concerning Prince George's County and the topic of additional adult support / one-on-one aids, however you want to label that. And supposedly as a result of an investigation, that whole county is now in compliance. And I spoke a little bit about this on the state level earlier today. We need to talk about what does it mean to be in compliance. And part of that item is training. I do not want to sit in a 3, 4, 5-hour meeting, which I have been doing a lot, including this morning, because the IEP chair and the people from the school have not read the information that they were supposed to read, have not been trained on the process, so they don't know that when you're doing a progression meeting, you have to have the middle school or high school involved in the conversation so they can tell you whether or not they can implement the IEP you're talking about, because elementary is very different from middle school, and middle school is very different from high school. Can't have these conversations if you don't know. And we are having them. Yet we have a process that people don't seem to know about that's not being implemented, much less enforced. It's not only about the training of one-on-ones, which, by the way, don't require training. I have to have a high school diploma. That's all I need to have in a background check. And then I can sit in the classroom with your child, and if that child is partially blind and can't make it around the school, or if that child elopes, I have an emergency meeting coming up for a child who got lost in a class of 20 kids in a corner with a scissors in her hand. This is a first grader, and cut up her pants. That's not acceptable. And if that aide was trained, I have to ask that question, would that have happened? We have IEP chairs that come to meetings and not only not know the process, but they don't know anything about the disability they're talking about. This needs to change if we are going to make appropriate in compliance decisions in this county.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ms. Bazemore, and I believe she's virtual. Okay, we don't believe she's online. And our next speaker is Dr. Ferrone. Good evening.
Good evening to you all. Happy spring. I am a bit surprised and dismayed. I'm glad to see you. Dismayed that the General Counsel opined that Ms. Robin Harvey vote is legal. So here is the way I think about it. I remember, and my memory is not perfect, that when Mr. McWilliams became a board member, he knew the law and he resigned. And he didn't vote on a budget the way Robin Harvey did. I remember Cheryl Pastor did the same thing. And in the quick time I had before, I looked up the law, and the law prohibits, COMAR prohibits serving on the Board of Education of a person pursuing elected office. That's COMAR 3-2B something. I know Ms. Harvey said she didn't know. Well, I really don't buy that. You know, I was speeding one time, state police stopped me, and I told him I didn't know. I didn't know the law. He said, that doesn't count. One time I went to court, the judge said the same thing. So I really love Miss Howie, but I disagree with her position if she is the one who opined on Robin Harvey. You know, lawyers have different opinions. Why did you really settle for the law office to tell you it's legal when you look at the facts and it's not right? Robin Harvey basically used the position to vote on the budget when she was applying or seeking, etc., an elected position, and that's illegal. This is the politics that is destroying BCPS. Politics. There should not be politics. That's wrong.
Thank you. Our next speaker is for Board Policy 3710, Safety and Security Equipment. Dr. Ferran.
I need a minute. I do not agree this policy, 3710. I think it's harmful to the school system. Line number 8 talks about safety and security, and there is no definition of safety and security in the policy. Then in line 15, and this is Saturday night joke, school property is defined, what it is. Really, why do we need to define what is school property? You need to define who owns this, or school building, or computers. It's not really there. It is inappropriate. And then in line 20, it says the superintendents shall develop and implement guidelines for the use of safety and security equipment properly owned, etc., etc. Well, I really don't know if she did. I have been coming to every meeting for almost 25 years. You know, all Dr. Rogers' time. I don't know if she did. If she did, I'd like to see it. I'd like you to discuss it. Then there is talk about pattern of safety concerns. Pattern of safety concern. Look at that word. Think of it like a lawyer. Pattern can be abused, just like I was abused and ejected out under the guards of the school system, armed guards, last year, unfairly, illegally, immorally. It's a language that is so elastic. Why do we keep doing that? Elastic language. Then line 27 talks about installing surveillance. Well, you know, I don't know. There is no enough surveillance here. Like, for instance, there are no cameras on you, the Board of Education. There is this ugly sign that I keep asking you to take it out because it does not make anybody safe. It is an insult for taxpayer. It's an insult for anybody who thinks about safety and security. And you still have it here. And it says you are not allowed to stand unless you are leaving the room. Like, standing is a red flag for somebody who's going to commit an inappropriate, aggressive act. You know, anybody can do harm sitting. Anybody from the school system can do harm to you or to us. It doesn't have to be somebody like me, have back pain, and I need to stand to stretch or take a picture.
Thank you, Dr. Ferran. I'd also like you to know that Ms. Howie is the school systems lawyer. The board also has their own counsel.
I like to see the verbiage, if I can, Madam. the written verbiage of the lawyer.
The next on the agenda is consideration of action taken in closed session, and for that I call on Mr. Burns.
Good evening, Chair Lichter, Dr. Rogers, hi, members of the board. This evening in closed session, the board considered appeal HEA 26-020 and took action with respect to the outcome of that appeal. Now would be an appropriate time for you to affirm that in open session.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. May I have a motion to approve the action taken in closed session on hearing examiner's case HEA 26-020 and authorize Ms. Gover to sign for those board members not physically present?
So moved, Pumphrey.
Thank you. May I have a second, please?
Second, Young.
Any discussion? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. McMillian?
Yes.
Ms. Pumphrey?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Dominowski?
Abstain.
Ms. Hen?
Yes.
Ms. Frempong, sorry.
Yes.
Ms. Ogumbe?
Yes.
Ms. Delusky?
Yes.
Dr. Savoy?
Yes.
Ms. Lichter?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. The next item on the agenda is new business report on board policies. This is the first reader for these policies, and for that I call Ms. Christina Pumphrey, Chair of the Policy Review Committee.
Just 1 second, my computer froze.
Sure.
Okay, sorry about that. Members of the board, the Policy Review Committee asks that the board accept this report of the committee's recommendation of the proposed changes to Board Policy 3710, Safety and Security Equipment. This policy is presented to you on tonight's agenda as Exhibits H1.
Thank you, Ms. Pumphrey. May I have a motion to accept the recommendation of the Board's Policy Review Committee for Board Policy 3710?
So moved, Frempong.
Thank you. No second is needed since the recommendation comes from the committee. Is there any discussion? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. McMillian?
Yes.
Ms. Pumphrey?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Dominowski?
Yes.
Ms. Hen?
Yes.
Ms. Frempong?
Yes.
Ms. Ogumbe?
Yes.
Ms. Delusky?
Yes.
Dr. Savoy?
Yes.
Ms. Lichter?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the report on the Central Area Administrative Review Boundary Change. And for that, I call on Dr. Grimm and Dr. Grimm. No, I'm sorry, Dr. Grimm and Melissa.
Good evening, Chair Lichter, Superintendent Dr. Rogers, members of the board. I'm pleased to be here this evening with Ms. Melissa Appler, manager from Strategic Planning. Mr. Taylor was unable to make it this evening. We're here to share with you the Central Area Administrative Review Boundary Change process. Next slide, please. As we've shared with you previously, according to Superintendent's Rule 1280, this is the process for an administrative review boundary study process. We engage in this process a little bit different than a boundary study, and you'll see why with some of the recommendations that we're making next. Next slide, please. This boundary change in particular affects 11 schools in 4 locations within the central area with the purpose of improving the continuity of feeder patterns, providing transportation efficiencies, and realigning boundaries to avoid confusion. The changes impact 1 current student. Next slide, please. The Falls Road, Baltimore, Carroll County boundary. This proposed change is to align the school boundary with the Baltimore and Carroll County administrative boundary line. Currently, the BCPS boundaries for 5th District Elementary, Hereford Middle, and Hereford High Schools include parcels that are actually located within Carroll County. Previously, a larger parcel spanned both Carroll and Baltimore counties. However, this parcel was subsequently subdivided along the Carroll County boundary. Parcels that are now entirely within Carroll County are not eligible to attend BCPS. Next slide, please. These maps show the current and proposed boundaries for this particular area. Next slide, please. Blenheim Road. This proposed change is to correct an egress issue to Blenheim Road. It will provide feeder and transportation efficiency. Currently, there are parcels zoned to attend Carroll Manor Elementary School that use a shared drive to access Blenheim Road. Parcels on Blenheim Road are zoned to attend Jacksonville Elementary School. Next slide, please. These maps show the current and proposed boundary lines. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Appler.
So the third area proposed for change is along Putty Hill Avenue. This proposed change would align the school boundaries to the parcel boundaries for Oakley and Villa Cresta Elementary Schools. Currently, the school boundary splits parcels containing a church, a firehouse, and a police station. The recommendation is to align the school boundaries to the parcel boundaries. Next slide, please. Here again, we have the current and proposed boundaries. The pink area is Oakley Elementary School, and the blue is Villa Cresta Elementary Schools. Next slide. Here you can get a more detailed view of this area. You can see the firehouse, the police station, and the church, and how the parcel boundaries split those parcels. There is currently no intention of residential development in this area, and it's really to just align those school boundaries to the parcel boundaries that are currently splitting those parcels. Next slide, please. The fourth and final area is Loch Raven Boulevard. This area, currently there is a narrow swath of 695 that splits boundaries in this area, and the intention is to align those boundaries to the most contiguous school. Next slide, please. Here you can see Hampton Elementary School is in the green, and the yellow is Pine Grove Elementary School. There is a thin portion of 695 that is essentially splitting the Hampton Elementary School boundary. This would take that small portion of 695 to create a contiguous boundary for Hampton Elementary School. Next slide, please. This is the middle schools that would be impacted by this change. Again, that small, narrow portion of 695 that's in Pine Grove Middle School would be reassigned to Ridgely Middle School to create a contiguous boundary. Next slide, please. This slide shows examples of the community engagement process. So letters were sent to the parents and guardians of each student for all of the impacted schools. Principals also communicated with the families throughout the process of providing additional information. A public information session was held and a survey was conducted. A website was also created to provide the proposal and all relevant information to the study, and an online comment form was provided on that website. The results of the survey and all comments received are also posted on that website. Now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Grimm for next steps.
So we did have a virtual public hearing scheduled for tomorrow night. It's my understanding from Ms. Gover that no one signed up to provide comment, so that virtual public hearing has been canceled for tomorrow evening. Our next scheduled item on this particular issue is the board's decision vote, which is our next board meeting, which is Tuesday, April the 21st. If approved, the implementation would be the fall of 2026 for these boundaries.
Okay. Thank you both for that presentation. Are there any questions from the board? Mr. McMillian.
Dr. Grimm, please refresh my memory. Back a few years ago, were we paying an outside vendor to do our boundary studies, and then we made the decision to do it in-house?
So we have utilized contracted services in the past to do a number of our boundary studies based on feedback from the board, based on the budget, and frankly, based on the outcome, what we were getting and the volume that we're doing. We examined our processes and procedures, and the in-house team has taken on much of this work. It's not to say that we won't use additional suppliers in the future. We did bring a contract before the board, I believe, last year that expanded the number of potential suppliers. But yes, this year we did utilize our staff to completely implement these processes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Ms. Pumphrey?
Thank you. Looking at slide 10, where it shows the current and proposed, where the church and fire station and police station, the block, I guess it would be, it's down on the shot, but in front of the church, where that's changing, it looks like it's blocked off a little bit. Is that also part of the church, or is that a different?
I believe it's the same parcel. Can you verify that, Ms. Apple?
The area right before the church or behind the church?
So on the picture, it would be below.
Yes, that is also part of the parcel. They're aligned to the parcel boundaries, yes.
Okay, thank you. And another question, regarding the one student who's being affected, is that me? I don't think that's me. Sorry. I'm off, that's not me. Regarding the one student that's being affected, does their family know at this point that they're being affected? They will be affected if this is approved, I guess I should say.
Yes, the principal of that impacted student, as soon as these were proposed, was notified and they did talk to them.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, we need to figure out. Ms. Frempong, can you mute Ms. Frempong? Okay, we're good. Thank you. Sorry. Ms. Pumphrey, will you finish your question?
Yes, that got my answers. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. Other questions or comments from the board? Okay, thank you very much for that presentation. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a report on academic achievement, re-imaging the school progress planning. And for that, I call on Dr. Jones, Mr. Landon, Ms. Stansberry, and Principal McComb. One of my favorite topics.
Good evening, Board Chair Lichter, Dr. Rogers, and members of the board. I am excited to present our reimagination of the school progress plan. I am joined by my colleagues, Mr. Tag Landon, who is the Director of School Performance, Ms. Michelle Stansberry, who is all things Title I, and then, of course, Mr. Shaw McCombs, who is the principal of Lutherville Lab Elementary School. We're going to share the presentation that we have prepared before you. As you're thinking through the presentation, we want you to be able to sense the feedback, the innovation, and the research and evidence-based practices that we've put together to ensure that our processes for our schools are streamlined. Mr. Landon.
Good evening. We like to use a road trip analogy when we're talking about SPP. So previously, when we planned a road trip, we would use paper maps. And, you would plan how to get to a destination. You'd know your starting point, you know your ending point, and you'd plan your routes. And that was great, unless you would come to a standstill somewhere along the highway. It was hard to know whether to exit or to try a route never taken before. Our hope now is, instead of paper maps with legends, that SPP is more like a navigation system in your car or a phone app. If we come to barriers along the journey, we can use our data to decide if we need to change or not. Many times the app will tell you you're still on the fastest route. We are now data rich and information rich in Baltimore County, and it really helps us to make instructional decisions, especially when it comes to SPP.
So as we started on this journey, we really wanted to take a look at what works nationally, what works in local school systems near us, and that's exactly what we did. We did some research on best practices in school improvement. We looked at other districts nationally and then even locally in Maryland. And then we also thought it was exceptionally important to consider the parts of those plans that were streamlined. One of the biggest pieces of feedback we've received is it is necessary for us to have a very streamlined and less complicated process, and that's exactly what we strive to do. We work together with our partners across multiple divisions that you can see listed here, and one of the greatest voices, and we got lots of valuable feedback from, were our school administrators at all levels. Their feedback was very helpful in helping us to take what in theory sounds really, really great and turn it into something that is actionable and usable for schools.
So the new plan is aligned to our system strategic plan, and more specifically, the 4 priority areas in academic achievement. Rather than a long continuous Word document, we have shifted to a color-coded Excel workbook with many tabs. The plan remains in SharePoint, and schools can choose to have many people working on the SPP simultaneously. All of the data has been pulled for schools, so the focus can be on the analysis of the data rather than the finding and regurgitating of the data. We are no longer using the 5 whys when it comes to root cause. Instead, we're using a fishbone analysis where we ask how and what as opposed to why didn't you. If schools complete the plan, it should meet each MSDE requirement needed for Title I and Schools in Improvement. Finally, the plan is in Excel, and we have linked many cells, so the copy and paste option is unnecessary. We will be able to easily pull from all plans to see which evidence-based practices are being used system-wide. The evidence-based practice database is also an enormous resource for schools as they choose which research-based practice will most likely help their school with the greatest student achievement. At the end of the plan, a snapshot will be generated for schools to post for the public, and you'll see an example when Principal McComb presents coming up.
It was important for us to align to the system priorities, and so we made sure that the plan had a space for academic achievement, infrastructure, highly effective teachers and leaders, and also safety and climate. One of the other really important pieces of our work was making sure that the plan was not very full of clutter. We wanted it to be clear, but not cumbersome. And so in doing so, we felt like the alignment to the system priorities would help schools with making decisions about how they invested in resources, provided supports, and then thought through overall student achievement. In doing so, the plan includes information that aligns to English language arts, mathematics, supports for our multilingual learners, and supports for our students receiving special education services. Our curriculum and instruction team, along with teams in other divisions, worked tirelessly to put together an evidence-based database that provides schools with a wealth of resources to help them identify strategies that have been proven nationally to work for our students.
The school progress planning process is an iterative process. It's a process that has a continuous cycle. When we were reimagining the SPP and understanding that we were in our 3rd year of the current SPP, we started this summer and all along the way collecting information and reaching out to our stakeholders. The timeline picks up where we are now in the 2nd semester. As you saw in February, schools were trained by clusters. Mr. Tag Landon, Ms. Stansberry, and the executive directors of schools worked with principals to train them on the use of the SPP tool. February through August, that will take us through into the summer, there'll be planning and development work that takes place. And then in September, automated SPP snapshots will be available and posted on school websites. So this will take away the cumbersome aspect of it for our principals and thrust us into a different space as it relates to providing those snapshots. And then all year long, all year next year, we'll be monitoring and implementing the work of the evidence-based strategies.
As I mentioned before, the plan itself is a Microsoft Excel workbook with color-coded tabs. What you're seeing here is an ELA SPP tab. After doing the needs assessment, schools will choose the most appropriate evidence-based practice from our database of Research for Better Teaching / Science of Learning, or from our Department of Curriculum and Instruction. You can see an example of a pop-up box that appears anytime a school clicks in any cell in the SPP, which reminds them what they should be placing in that cell. Drop-downs allow schools to choose one evidence-based practice and up to 8 improvement strategies aligned to the respective evidence-based practice. Schools must do this for the all students group, multilingual learners, and students receiving special education services, along with any other student groups in school improvement. This same format that you see here is used for math, science, social studies, and climate, depending on the level of school.
Infrastructure is an added piece to the school progress plan, and that's something that we've really had asked schools to call out in the past. Systems and structures are important when you're looking at overall school improvement. And what we're asking schools to do is examine their existing systems and structures that will help to support the efforts they have in implementing evidence-based practices. That's everything from the scheduling of resource teachers and support staff to how their lunch duty, arrival and dismissal work, all of the systems and structures within a school that can either prohibit or support overall achievement in the building. And we're asking schools to take a look at those systems and structures and think through how they might be able to do things slightly differently in order to elevate the overall school program.
When it comes to climate, we are continuing to strive to reduce chronic absenteeism. We know when students come to school regularly, they achieve more academically. In this climate section, schools also place a link for their school-wide behavior plan to reduce redundancy.
Highly effective teachers, leaders, and staff is a very important part of an overall school plan. We've invested a lot of time and energy in building capacity in our buildings using the Research for Better Teaching evidence-based model. And what we're asking schools to do is really dig in and think through what is the overall plan that you have to improve the quality of supports and services provided to the teachers, leaders, and staff in the building in order for them to be successful, professional learning wise, and also thinking through some of those supports that staff need in order to stay and be retained, I apologize, in our school buildings.
The image you see before you is a snapshot. They'll be posted to school websites to be able to communicate with the communities that we serve at a glance, the efforts that we'll make as an individual school in order to move our students and achievement forward. The lens I bring to this work is that I had the opportunity to participate in the iterations that Mr. Landon led as we worked through reimagining this process as a member of the group who was helping to give feedback and design, and then receiving it as a sitting principal along with my colleagues who welcomed this new process for a few reasons. First, it does streamline and keep linear and very clear a process. All of those pieces in there, when there's 170 some schools that are completing this, having those directions and the embedded resources there are very, very helpful. And I think it strikes a nice balance between being able to customize for the needs of your school individually and align to the priorities that we have as a school system to be a system of schools. Finally, I can't say enough about how those evidence-based, research-based strategies being aligned, being available to directly align to the needs that you're seeing in your data and putting those pieces together are so helpful to have in partnership when you're thinking about how you're going to move students from where they are currently to where you want them to be. So the feedback that I've received from colleagues when this was unveiled over the last few months is that it was welcomed and very appreciated the thoughtfulness that it's put in and for it to be user-friendly. And I've done this at the high school level and the elementary school level, and to my eyes, it really works well for both.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I know that's a mammoth task to put together school progress planning. Do you have any questions or comments for the presenters? Mr. McMillian.
Mr. Langdon, I'm just curious. Did you use AI in any form during this process?
So we did use Google search in the beginning, which is not exactly AI, but the same kind of idea, right, to look across nationally. And we actually are suggesting that schools use Microsoft Copilot when it comes to their data analysis. We actually have it in the tool that says, suggestion, please consider using Microsoft Copilot, which is approved by BCPS. So we do think that using the technology that is available to us is a smart move for schools.
Thank you.
I have a question. I might have missed this, but is this a one-year plan or a multi-year plan? Just a 1 year. So every year they'll go through the same process again.
Yes.
We felt, you want to go?
You go.
We felt so many things were changing that we didn't want to lock into something for 3 years. At the state system, our accountability system is changing, and you know, lots of things are in flux. So we thought that, you know, it would be wise to just do 1 year at a time at this time.
Okay. One of the things, though, Ms. Lichter, and I know kind of where you're going with your question a little bit. Although it's 1 year, one of the things that we talked about as a team is if your school is still working on these things, then you can continue. You can continue that work. So it can go from year to year, but we did, as Mr. Landon said, decided with this first round, it'll give us a chance to kind of, be responsive to the feedback of principals for 1 year.
So they'll only have 4 goals, one for each priority area, or is it multiple? 4 goals.
That is correct.
Okay. And then I really like the prompts that you give them to help them kind of craft those goals. So other questions or comments? Okay, I'll save the rest of my 100
Madam
questions.
Chair,
Yes,
this
Ms.
is Board Member Frimpong.
Go ahead, Ms. Frimpong.
Thank you. Thank you to the team for the work that they've done. I appreciate the flexibility and adaptability as we look for ways to help make improvements for our students and our system overall. I apologize if I get the feedback.
Yeah.
So my question comes to the scalability and adaptability of this plan as it's been reimagined. It's already been stated it's a 1 year plan, but this plan was created based on academic or priority areas that have been identified by the current superintendent. So as we enter a season of transition, how do we see this plan being adaptable or scalable to when we have new leadership come in?
I'll answer that question. Thank you, Ms. Frimpong, for your question. So when we started designing the plan, of course, we did not know what the current changes were going to be. But the way our work is so continuous and so responsive in the Department of Schools and even across our school system, absolutely. Any changes that need to be made regarding anything that we're doing, we would respond to the leadership of the school system. School progress plans, school improvement plans are required documents by the state of Maryland, so that will be the staple. And then, of course, any changes as it relates to priority areas, initiatives, and any feedback we receive from the leader of the school system, we would make that adaptation right away.
Any other questions or comments? Just check.
This is Board Member Frimpong, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So I just wanted to confirm. So it sounds like you feel like this plan is scalable and adaptable, kind of, even though it was tailored to the 4 current school priorities, we can adapt this easily to whatever those priorities, those new priorities might be, and still be in a good place as far as what we're trying to do for our students and the outcomes.
Yes, and because the core, as Mr. Landon said, English, math, special education, multilingual learners, that work is continuing on. There's also the school behavior plan and the work of Title I that is required. So yes, we believe that that work can continue because we are required to focus on those areas. However, if there are certain phrases or phraseology that needs to change, we would make that change.
Perfect. So it really is, it's more the 4 academic priorities that were identified in slide 6, kind of with guidance of the priorities listed in slide 5.
And if those should change, the school system priorities should change, we would make that change as needed in consultation with the new leader of the school system.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for your work on this.
Thank you for your questions.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your work and look forward
you.
to seeing the results. The next item on the agenda is information, which includes the Quarter 2 audit report that was presented at the February 11th Audit Committee, revised Superintendent Rules 4201, 5320, and 5470, and an update on key school legislation. The next item on the agenda is board committee updates and agenda setting. So we will start with the audit committee, Mr. Young.
The audit committee met on Tuesday, March 17th, where we received a report on the enterprise resource systems data security and access control, and also the FY 2027 proposed audit projects. Our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, April 14th at 4:30 p.m.
Thank you. And buildings and contracts, Mr. Young?
The next building and contracts meeting is scheduled for Monday, April 20th at 5 p.m.
Thank you. Curriculum committee, Ms. Stoleski?
Thank you. The curriculum committee will be meeting actually tomorrow, Wednesday, March 25th at 4 p.m. Please join us. One of the main topics will be a math policy update. Thank you.
Thank you. The Legislative and Governmental Relations Committee, we just met last week. Mr. Bazemore gave a thorough update on bills, educational bills, and we have our last meeting. This committee only meets during session and a little bit longer in April. I think it's April 21st. And Policy Review Committee, Ms. Pumphrey.
Thank you. We had our Policy Review Committee meeting last night because it was moved. It was pushed back a week due to the closing of schools for weather. We reviewed Policy 3720, Behavior Threat Assessments, Policy 4008, Board Data Governance, and Policy 6202, Technology Acceptable Use Policy for Students. Those three policies move forward for first reader. We also reviewed Policy 8601, and we had a robust discussion about that. However, that is board member conduct and use of social media, and the committee decided not to take any action as far as that policy goes. And a new policy was introduced, Policy 1250, Immigration Enforcement, Access to School Buildings, and that moved forward to first reader as well.
Thank you, Ms. Pumphrey. And Equity Committee, Ms. Frempong?
Ms. Lichter?
Chair, board member.
Mr. Young's going to do
presided
it.
over that meeting, so he's going to provide
Okay.
that update. I do have comments, but he'll provide the update for Equity Committee. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Young.
The Equity Committee met on Thursday, March 19th. The meeting was a continuation of the discussion on discipline and disproportionality with a deeper dive by disaggregating the data. The next Equity Committee meeting is scheduled for Thursday, April 16th at 4 p.m. The Equity Committee will be meeting with the Equity Council this Thursday, March 26th at 5:30 p.m.
Thank you. Next is any agenda items that board members want us to consider for upcoming meetings. So please raise your hand if there is an agenda item. Ms. Pumphrey?
This may be something that's already on an upcoming agenda, but if not, if we could have a report on Oracle and the implementation currently.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Just check Teams. Okay. The last item on the agenda is announcements. The Board of, as Dr. Grimm said earlier, the Board of Education of Baltimore County is canceling the virtual public hearing for the Central Area Administrative Review Boundary Change on March 25th, 2026, because the board received no public comment registrations from the community. The board is still taking written testimony and comments from the public, which can be sent to boe@bcps.org. Our next board meeting will be held on Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. I hope everybody has a happy holiday season, a wonderful spring break, and we'll see you in about a month. Thank you for joining us tonight, and the meeting is now adjourned.